So while we're up front, we'll just begin right up front. We'll go over everything on the outside, and once we cover everything on the outside, we'll pop it up and go over everything on the inside. So to begin, you have your two brand new 20-pound LP tanks. They're both full minus the small amount of gas we use to fire up and test your furnace, water heater, and refrigerator. But to begin, the device in the middle right back here is called your auto changeover. As you can see, it's green right now. This little tab right here will tell you which tank it's going to run off of primarily. So what this will do is, as long as both of your tanks are open, say in the middle of the night your furnace is running, what will happen is once this tank eventually runs out, this indicator will turn red. It'll then start pulling gas from this tank. So your furnace would stay running. It just has to be pointed at either or tank. Pretty much the whole reason you then need to flip it over is because when this tank would run out and it starts pulling from this one, this tank it's only going to run at half the pressure.
Oh.
So that's why you flip it over, because then you get the full pressure from this tank.
Okay.
All the directions for that are located right here, which I'll just fold up nicely and tuck away right there. But pretty much, you know, just try to keep an eye on it. A lot of customers will leave one tank open and one tank closed, so in case when they do run out, they know they have a full 20-pound tank left.
Gotcha.
Especially since you have a heat pump on here, which is good up until about 40 degrees. They actually work really great, but otherwise, underneath this cover, I'm not gonna bother taking it off because it's pretty much just a brand new 12-volt marine deep cycle battery.
Yep.
It'll be charged whenever you're plugged into your 7-way, and it'll get charged whenever you're plugged into your campsite or at home, or just plugged into an outlet. Okay. You got a LED light right here for hitching, unhitching, any kind of gas bottle needs you need to take care of it at nighttime. Otherwise, this lifts up, and then you have your storage. There's your, I can't think of the name of this right now, just a little handle to help hold it up if you need to dig down in there and grab something.
Right.
There's one on both sides, so. There's a lock on here, so you can lock it so nobody could, you know, go in here. Say you stop at a truck stop or something to get some dinner.
Gotcha.
Kind of back below, I just noticed this now. You have your 12-volt ZAMP solar power hookup, which runs right to the battery. So if you go with that, set it up, it'll trickle charge your battery whenever the sun's out. Otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much the front of the camper. Not a whole lot's different from, well, you have your trap lock too, which the padlock for that is inside the camper. So once we get inside, I can show you where that is. Otherwise, yeah, we'll move around to this side. This is one of the storage compartment doors, just like the other one. Well, the keys are in the camper right now, but if you were to open this, there's a large black slide-in bin that slides from side to side, so you can just put all your stuff in there, slide it out, slide it back in. For your water heater, all the controls for it are on the inside of the camper. It runs on gas only. Pretty much, there's a switch on the inside. You'll flip the switch. It'll try 3 times to light itself. Say after the 3rd time it does not light, a red light will come on next to the switch, pretty much telling you to go check your gas. Turn the gas on, if it wasn't turned on. Sometimes it helps to light your stove first, just to work the gas back this far. Flip the switch off, flip it back on, it'll try again 3 times to light itself. Yep, that'll be your anode rod. Yep, you'll just pull that out. If say you ever do fire it with no water in it, there's a little thermal cutoff switch. Just press in on this little rubber tab, it'll activate the switch and your water heater will fire again. Otherwise, all the directions are in the cover, in case you ever forget. or need a refresher. Otherwise, yeah. Your power cord is in the camper. I'll pull it out once we get the roof up. I just forgot to take it out last night when I closed everything up after washing it. Pretty much you got a little blue light to let you know there's power going to the camper. The plug is pretty much identical to this without, you know, the wishbone. So you just want to line up the little L tab, give it like a little twist. It'll lock it to the camper. You then have this outer ring that you can tighten down. That'll really secure it on there, so, you know, somebody bumped into it. Well, it shouldn't fall out anyways, but it's just to secure it better.
Gotcha.
Next to that, you have your outdoor little hose setup. Pretty much it has a quick disconnect. You'll hook it up on here, and with either your city water turned on or your water pump turned on, you'll have a little hose spigot thing to rinse off, you know, if you have dirty feet, dirty pets, just that kind of stuff. And that just all feeds right back in there. Right here is the exhaust vent for your furnace. It does get very hot, so try not to, say, like put a stack of folding chairs in front of it or something, or plastic table or something, because it will melt it if this is running.
Right.
Right here is the back of your refrigerator. Once again, all the controls are located on the inside of the camper. So the only reason you'll have to open these up is to most likely vacuum out the dead bugs that have collected in there. Usually ladybugs, especially if you can't be fall time, they like the warmth. Just vacuum out the bottom, or if you have an air gun, blow it out, that works too. Otherwise, unlike other campers, your drain tube goes straight out the bottom. You don't have to worry about sticking it through one of the grates on here. I'll get the keys anyways because I need to open up the shower. So the keys work just as good. So next to all of that, you have your outdoor shower, which you'll just use the little key that's for your compartments and whatnot. Put it in there right. Okay. Pretty much you got a hot and a cold, like a shower would. You have an on-off on the wand to reduce water flow, so you don't blow through all your hot water. Otherwise, yeah, you got a little holder once the cable or cord gets out of the way, like so. Otherwise, yeah, that just feeds back up in there. This little spot right here is the drain for your kitchen sink. So if you use your kitchen sink, make sure this is open. Otherwise, pretty much the water will just back up into your sink, at which point you'll then have to come out and open this anyways. So, let's see, you have your fresh water or fresh tank fill right here, which is like a 25 gallon tank or something. That's underneath the camper. You'd fill this up beforehand if you're going to a campground where they don't have a water hookup for you. If you do use this, it'll turn on your water pump. That'll pressurize the system, give you, water wherever you need it, pretty much. At the end, I believe it's in the back. Yep, it's right back here behind the axle, so it'll, counteract your hitch weight.
Fill the water, yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, if you do decide to use that, the drain for it is right on the bottom of the tank. It's kind of, since it's up in the frame, you can
Gotcha.
let me see if, it's already open, so no water's gonna come out, but pretty much to the left of these little circles right here. Just open that up at the end of the weekend, so on your drive home, all the movement of the trailer will work the majority of what water's left in there out. If you're at a campground where they have a water hookup, you'll just pop this plastic cap off, and that's where you'll hook up to city water. Turn the faucet on at the campground, pressurize your system, and give you water where you need it. If you're at a campground where they have a cable or satellite hookup, you can pop this cover off and just hook it up right there. There's a connection like this on the inside of the camper. Just hook up to it and you'll have cable. Or if you have a tailgate or satellite, you can hook it up right there. Whatever you may have, if you have anything. This is the vent for the AC heat pump. Pretty much it's screwed shut and sealed shut, so you won't have to go in there. These are the drain hoses for any condensation that builds up. Otherwise, yeah. You have your back storage compartment. I can't get the key. Got a little tab up here to hold it open. Also inside here you have, probably have to get it from the inside of the camper. Yep. Pretty much the bed lifts up. You can lift up the panel in there and store stuff from the inside, or if it's raining, get stuff out from the inside. But it's a little portable toilet if you decide to use it. Otherwise, okay. In here, the other storage compartment's already open. That's pretty much like the cushions that you can lay down between the beds to make it
the king, yeah.
Yep. So can't really get them out through that compartment door. You'll have to pull the mattress up, lift up the panel, and then you can pull it out. The gas grill is inside, so once we open it up, I can show you the gas grill. But this is the bracket it mounts on, and then you have your gas cord or gas line that'll pull out. It's a quick disconnect with the on-off on the switch. Let's see, you have a porch light for nighttime so you can see going in and out of your camper. Radio antenna, electrical outlet in case you want to plug something in outside, party lights, blender. Outdoor radio speaker that's hooked up to your stereo inside. Otherwise, down here, just more storage compartments. Oh, look at that, you got the bracket. Well, I still can't get the grill out, but once we pop it up, I can pull everything out. See, you got a little water filter in here, because there's a water filter on the camper. Got a spatula for the grill. A wrench for the water filter so you can make it good and tight. Otherwise, the bracket, grill bag, and then the grill slid back over there. So, then this was the storage compartment that I was talking about. Oh, here's the power cord. No, it's not in there. This, the power cord came in here.
Oh, power cord.
So the power cord's just sitting on the floor in there. So when we're done, we'll put it back in this bag to keep it all together. Leave that out so I remember it. Otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much the outside of the camper. Okay. So unless you have any other questions, we can pop it up and go over everything on the inside. Pretty much there's two latches, one on each side. This side has a lock on it, so if you're storing it somewhere or storing it at home. Yeah, I've never put one on, and we've never sold one, but from all the pictures I look at, it looks like they'd be a pain to put up. In my opinion, you'd be almost better off just buying one of those like $90 4-pole pop-up canopies from like Harbor Freight that just put it right in front of the door, and I'd go with that. With that lift arm problem you were mentioning, when lifting the roof up, I always recommend helping the roof lift, because a lot of people who have these, you're like, oh, it's got a power lift on it, I'm just going to let that do all the work. Well, you can, but for example, when you hear it going up, sounds like it's working hard. give it some help. You know, it's not gonna have to work as hard, especially since they only put one on the one side.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And can you open it without that?
No. Well.
Say that fails. What do you do?
If that fails, pretty much you'll take the bolt off on the outside. They actually made it now so if they fail, you can take them off without having to cut wires, because before you have to cut the wires.
Yeah, you just unplug it, right?
Yeah, you just unplug it, take the two bolts off. You got these little shock cords right here that attach to the roof so it stays together for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And you would just have to have one person kind of pick up on this edge of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
That'll allow this edge to go down, and then you would just kind of hold it and let it drop down.
Gotcha.
Since the roof is so high up, like so, and once it's all the way up, it'll kind of fall into a little channel on the front panel, and it'll stay up like so. For opening up the walls now, it's a little awkward at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too hard. I can show you once, then if you guys want to try it, you're more than welcome to try it. Here's the power cord. Get out of the door. But pretty much what you'll do is you'll open the door up, lift this portion of the door up, close this door behind you. Kind of in this section, you have your latch handles that'll latch into the grooves on the roof. So what you'll do is as you're lifting the door up, or wall up, you'll kind of close the door behind you, because there's a latch. Because there's a latch right here that you'll latch up to hold the two pieces together. So, just close this behind me. Put this up, latch it. Latch your door down, and then once you have the one latch up, it might be a little difficult to reach the other one because you have this countertop right here. So it's okay just to have the one wall latch, or the one latch up for now, till you get this wall up. Pretty much then you'll lift this wall up, like so, and latch it in. And then you can latch the other wall right away, like so. And then everything is all popped up. So, not too bad once you get the hang of it, like I said.
Okay.
The only other thing when you're talking about common issues, I really wouldn't call it an issue, but something some people don't like. If you notice, there's these little kind of rubber tab or felt tabs right here. What happens, or has happened to some people's campers, going down the road, these walls will jiggle a little bit.
Okay.
Then, you know, this one folds down, so this one rests on top of that one. It doesn't hurt to, if you have like an old towel or like an old, you know, washcloth, just put something there, and that'll help, you know, keep from anything like rubbing through. Like I said, that's why there's these felt tabs to keep that from happening, but, you know.
Gotcha. Yep.
Otherwise, the grill, I'll slide that on and we can go over the grill real quick on the table. I'll just set out of the way for now so we can go over everything underneath it.
Okay.
Because that's where a lot of stuff is located. This will go in the owner's manual in the drawer. Okay. So here's your water heater switch right here. Pretty much when you flip it on, this red light is on because it is not lit. it'll try 3 times to light. Each time it tries to light, this little red light is going to go out. If it comes back on again after the 3rd time, that's pretty much telling you it did not light.
There it is.
Yep. So, but the gas, oh yeah, there it goes. I couldn't remember if I turned the gas back off or not. But it's lit, so we aren't going to leave it running since there's no water in there. If you do say light it like that and there are like, oh shoot, there's no water in it, it's fine, just turn it off. It's not like the electric ones where it'll burn the element out. What you want to do is the pressure relief valve on the outside, crack that open so when you turn the pump on, it'll allow the water to flow in there. Next to that, you have your GFI outlet. So all the outlets in the camper are connected to this one. So say, I don't know, you're using something that requires like your electric space heater, say it draws a little bit too much power for whatever reason, it'll pop the outlet first, so you'll just have to hit the reset button. Next to that is your furnace, which the controls are right next to the stereo in the center. But I guess I'll just go over that in a second and cover everything over here quick. Otherwise, you have your power converter. All the breakers are labeled right here. Pretty much this will be 1 all the way over to 5. Otherwise, the fuse list is right down here, and it's pretty much, you know, top to bottom. So they're all just your standard automotive fuses that you can, say, pick up at Walmart or something. Above that is your RV carbon monoxide / propane detector. It's hooked up to the 12-volt battery up front, so you don't have to worry about changing the batteries out on this. Otherwise, you got a stereo speaker right there, and then one on the bed. I guess the table's pretty straightforward, so I'll just leave it collapsed for now.
Okay.
For the refrigerator, you got a couple different modes. Let's see if I'm gonna get up quick. All the directions for it, in case you ever need a refresher, are right here on the bottom. Otherwise, it's pretty, in my opinion, straightforward. You got your on-off button right there. Takes a second. You got your temperature select over here. 1 being cold, 5 being the coldest. Right now, the DC light is on. No, DC will be battery, AC will be shore power. Yep,
Okay.
You'll just hit this switch again.
Now with the gas.
Gas, wait. Oh. Okay, just a second. Okay. DC. Okay, auto. Okay, there. Because when you hit this button and it's on auto, it's going to run off the AC, because auto mode primarily runs off 120 volts. If you lose that 120 volt, it'll switch to gas for you.
Okay.
Pretty much then with these smaller refrigerators, for traveling purposes, you can hit this button again and you can go straight to gas to run your refrigerator on gas while you're traveling, or you can tap the DC button to run it off the battery while you're driving down the either or works. When I've traveled with RVs, I've just used gas. Not, you can always use DC. Otherwise, you got your stovetop over here. You got the electric igniter, which when you hold it down, it produces a spark to all 3 of the burners. Pretty much, you have to push the switch in, let it run for a little bit, and then you can control your temperature. All the directions then are located on the hood, in case you ever need a refresher, but it's pretty straightforward. Above all this, you have your roof vent fan, which is more or less for the stove, so in case you are cooking, you can vent out carbon monoxide. Just got a little travel lock here, lock it, and then you can open it up, turn it on. Obviously 3 is going to be a lot louder. It works great for circulating air if you don't want to run the AC or something and it's a cool night. Otherwise, 0 will turn it off. Probably put the lock on, since unlike most campers, this vent is, you know, opposite of the way you'd usually have it, so yeah. For the sink, get some more lighting here by opening up. These I generally just kind of roll up. I haven't found a good way to fold them yet, so I found rolling them up just works actually pretty well. These can be opened or closed when you close the walls up. I haven't found an issue with having them rolled up yet. Let's roll this out. Okay, that's not so dark. Sink's pretty kind of straightforward. You'll have to lift this up. It's kind of, I guess that doesn't rotate. But pretty much you'll have to pull the handle out to get the water to flow. It's not just forward and back. But this will be your cold, hot will be to the back. If you use this, like I said, open up that drain on the outside so the water drains out. Otherwise, just make sure it's closed up before you close the walls up. Yes, it is. We put water through everything, tested everything, made sure it worked, and then we winterized it at the end.
The water pump is under the bed?
Yes, yes. Well, actually, the water pump is under this one. My mistake.
Okay.
I'll get a drill to open it up so we can go over winterizing at the end.
Okay.
I just save that for the end so I don't confuse people
Gotcha.
during the walkthrough.
Gotcha.
The microwave right here, I'm not going to go over since it's a microwave and we've all operated microwaves,
right,
hopefully by this point in our life. You have two switches. The one to the left will work your little floor light over here. Otherwise, the switch right next to it will work your Wi-Fi ranger because you have to turn it on. It's not always powered. Behind this, you have your USB charge outlets that are hooked up to the 12-volt battery. So if you're camping somewhere where they don't have power, you can still charge your phone and whatnot. The stereo is pretty much just like a Bluetooth stereo or AM, FM. All the info for that is going to be in here in this packet. This packet, while I have it out, also just, you know, here it is. Has your owner's, has your owner's manual, which is pretty much going over everything I am and probably in greater detail. There's also a CD on the back that also has all the information in this book. You can also download the Forest River app on your phone, which has all this information and probably even more to it. So that's not a bad app to have on your phone. Otherwise, there's just all the other, you know, various, like your refrigerator, appliance, owner's manual in here. You got your cable, satellite hookup if you have that at the campground. Otherwise, for the thermostat, it's pretty straightforward. You have 3 buttons. Tap it once, it'll just kind of light it up so you can see it. Tap it again, you'll go to your fan mode. If you leave it on auto and select either the AC, furnace, or heat pump, it'll run to the selected temperature and then shut off. If you move this up to high or low, pretty much now you're going to kick the fan on the air conditioner without actually turning the part that cools it on. So it's pretty much now just a giant fan to circulate air in your camper. We'll just put it back to auto. Hit it again. It'll go down to AC, so it'll start cooling the trailer. Otherwise, you have furnace labeled at the bottom, heat pump, and then hit it again and it'll eventually go to this screen and it'll turn off. If for whatever reason, not to confuse you, but we've had this happen before, if for whatever reason you tap both buttons at the same time, it'll go to Celsius. So if you're like on heat and it only goes up to 32 degrees, you're at Celsius. So you'll just have to tap the two buttons again quickly and it'll switch back to Fahrenheit. We'll just turn this off. Let's see.
What's this?
That is the table for the, it sits right next to the outdoor grill on that railing outside. So once you guys do get your Coleman grill, you can set that up so you have a place to hold your food or drinks or whatever you want to hold. Let's see, anything in here? Nope. Pretty much otherwise there's just storage under everything. You got these little tabs right here that the bed insert would rest on to make it a king. And then there's a smaller one that goes up over the counter. Otherwise, yeah. I'll get a drill and then we can go over winterizing unless, oh, you got a coat rack too above your head. Or a hang-in rack, whatever you want to call it. And then a smoke detector.
Okay.
But yeah, like unless you have any questions, I'll grab a drill. For winterizing them? Okay. My mistake, the water pump, yes, will be over there. I thought it was over here by the water heater.
Gotcha.
But pretty much you still have to come under here for winterizing because you have your 3 bypass valves. Yep. When they're perpendicular with the line, they're closed. When they're parallel, they'll be open. So right now you have your hot line coming out of the tank closed. You have your cold line going into the tank closed. And then you have your bypass valve in between opened. So when you pump the antifreeze through the cold line, it'll bypass the water heater and go to all your hot fittings. Come summertime, you'll just flip these valves the opposite direction. So your cold is open, your hot is open, and your bypass is closed. What a lot of people do is, since you have this nice white canvas right here, they'll just take a Sharpie, draw a little diagram, so that they can just look there and be like, okay, it needs to be turned this way. Once you have these valves turned, you can go to the outside, pull that drain plug at the bottom, and let all the water run out. Once it runs out, you can either leave the plug out, put it back in. It's all a matter of personal preference, but your water heater will be winterized for winter. Oh, there's the screw. I need to put it back in. It's held down by a screw. I mean, if you aren't worried about people going in here and putting stuff that's not supposed to be in there, you don't have to screw this shut, but that's the way it comes from the factory, so I'll put the screw back in. I'll put these cushions back over here out of the way, and then we can go up under the bed. Pull this out of the way to make things easier. Okay, and then you take that screw out. So we'll run this out, like so, and open it. Okay, so here's your water pump, and then your filter.
Okay.
Because when we winterize it, you need to take the filter out. Otherwise, the filter will take out the majority of the antifreeze agent in there.
Gotcha.
And then you'll just have a pink water filter. A lot of customers I know will always be like, oh, there's water filter. Well, I guess we don't need the outside one now.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you can still use the outside one. You just don't have to use this one. Yeah, I mean, pressure regulators are always a good thing to use at campgrounds in case there is a pressure spike. You won't come back to possibly a leak in trailer because it blew a fitting out.
Right.
So yeah, I guess the only thing you have to remember then is come time to winterize it, if you do leave this filter here, is to just dump the water out before you start pumping the antifreeze through. Because what happens is, if there's water at the bottom, the antifreeze
floats.
Yeah, it'll float above it and won't get the little bit of water at the bottom. So,
gotcha.
Otherwise, what some people will do is they'll just get one of these little fit-ins, get a section of hose like so, make up a little line, and they'll just keep it next to their water pump. And then all you do is twist the line off here, put your little line on, run it to your jug, flip the pump on right here, because the switch is right there, and then pull it directly from the yeah. Any other questions, concerns, things you've noticed? Okay. Then I'll take you back up front.